Hey everybody, it's me, Foxy D. Okay, so thank you to my new subscribers, my regular subscribers, and here we go. I got an upload for you today. Now, I know there are a lot of people who say that if people don't pay, they don't value things. And sadly, it seems to be true in this ridiculous capitalist society of ours. But I'm still putting it out there because I got to do what I got to do. I do my part. All right. So the only part I haven't done in a while, I haven't looked at the comment section, okay, unless I already approved the person. So I'm going to try to do that within the next week or so. All right. So if you did give me a shout out or commented and I haven't gotten back to you, don't take it personally, please. I literally haven't looked at them. I've had a lot of other things to take care of these days. Anyhow, upload time. Like I said, I'm going to do these when I feel it. So here we go. Last video, I talked a little bit about narcissists and psychopaths. Somebody came back and said they're not the same thing. I know they're not the same thing. All right. And I mentioned my background a little bit. Without going into too much detail, I'll tell you this. I've known both psychopaths, malignant narcissists or narcissists. I've known the malignant variety, and believe me, I've known the covert variety. I'm going to tell you what I think from best to worst, okay, what to watch out for. All right, psychopaths. Believe it or not, I'm going to say something that's really going to go against the grain. Don't mind them so much. I'll explain. All right, so psychopaths definitely have to act or learn to act, if they're bright, they learn to act in a particular way to blend in with the rest of society. In terms of emotional ability, they're pretty flat. These are people that do not experience love. It's impossible. They don't experience shame or guilt or any of those kind of, whether it be positive or negative emotions. They're very flat on the line of emotion. Okay. In terms of empathy, forget it. There's nothing there. Absolutely nothing. Now, a lot of people will say the psychopath is born that way, and I do believe that. And is it neurochemical in nature? Is it a different type of brain? To me, it's a different species of human altogether. I believe the people who run this world, the masters that be, are absolute psychopaths. Now, why do I think that? Well, look, anybody, and it's not a matter of money only, okay? And that's another thing, too. We'll get into that a little bit later. Anybody who's at the top of the food chain, all right, who can manipulate society, cause and create conflict in other nations and wars, just so that the system can continue and their ultra-rich status, like it's beyond anything, it's the 0.1%, can continue, have to be psychopaths, right? Like a normal, I can't even use that word because they're just a different, it's a range of humanity, all right? So we like to think that most humans, if they see an act of injustice or they see someone getting hurt, will intervene and do something to help. But there are a whole lot of humans who won't do that, all right? And or unless there's something to be gained for themselves from that situation. So psychopaths are the types of people who will achieve things for their own ends and only their own ends. So psychopaths, of course, have been demonized. A lot of serial killers are deemed to be psychopaths. And I'm not saying that they're not, but it doesn't mean that a psychopath is a serial killer. Psychopath is just a type of human, all right, who's in it for themselves all the way. They will put on masks. Will they enjoy you writhing in pain? And, I guess unless we're talking about the serial killer type psychopaths who maybe have some kind of kink and pleasure, all right? So they do it for themselves. They're not doing it just to cause you pain and enjoy your pain. So they tend not to be of the sadistic nature. They tend to be of a purely self-centered nature. Now, one of the psychopaths that I've known in my life that I grew up with was actually a lot of fun to hang out with. I'll explain why. We do crazy things like, I don't know, walk through a neighborhood. If you saw somebody's pool in the backyard, it would be like, let's go jump in, right? I feel like it's hot and we should jump in the pool. And so we did these nutty things and I went along for the ride, right? Like just being a kid and stuff. Anyhow, as the years went on, I started noticing that this person just, again, just felt or didn't seem to feel certain things like I felt. Now, remember, I'm an empath. This person's a psychopath. Eventually got diagnosed, told me, and I wasn't surprised by it, right? And they weren't really surprised by it either. It was just what it was. It wasn't a bad person. It was just a person who was out for their own ends. But they played a great role, right? In front of other people. You couldn't tell. Person ended up becoming a really great salesperson. Excellent, all right? Became a father, had kids. But you could tell he was completely emotionally, like I felt it, completely emotionally disconnected because I was so close to this person. I was able to give him some feedback to help him out along the way. All right. So, because I guess of my personal experience, I don't find psychopaths in general um, hard to deal with. All right. The fact that they're not sadistic in nature, that they're purely selfish, makes them, for me, pretty easy to identify. Okay. And that's it. They're just that type of human. Now, narcissists are a different breed entirely. Narcissists feel heavy emotional lability. Okay, so whereby the psychopath is kind of flat emotionally, the narcissist is very emotionally labile. Okay, guilt and shame is what drives them. They're, how can I put it? When you hear about people who lack self-esteem, that they like to put other people down to feel better about themselves, that's really a narcissistic trait. Now, you can have that trait and not be a narcissist. I'm not going to get into the whole nitty-gritties of it. Like I said, I am of the opinion that most people in our society are very narcissistic, okay? And there's a heavy percentage who are complete through and through narcissists. They are rooted in envy, guilt, shame, and fear. And they are absolutely sadistic. And they love to see other people suffer. Now, the malignant narcissist, I find not as bad as the covert. The malignant is very obvious. You'll know who's who. The malignant is the one who's polished head to toe, always tries to get in the last word. You could tell by their emotional ability if you've crossed the line, or you've insulted them somehow, even if you haven't meant to. Okay. And then you have the covert narcissists. Like I said, to me, they're the absolute worst because they will, and it's not that they're so bright that they put on this mask and pretend to be. They're just lost in space. They think they're good people and they're really crappy people. All right. Just because they do the do-gooder thing, they, again, are rooted in envy, angst, and fear. And perhaps more so and at a deeper level than the malignant narcissist. Okay? And they tend not to be in the upper echelons, like say, whether it be in society or management roles, etc. They tend to be part of the masses, and they just feel like entitled to everything and that they're always overlooked, and woe is me. And they're very vengeful animals. Okay. Then what do we have? We have the rest of us, all right? And we are at different levels of consciousness, and that's neither here nor there for this video. Anyhow, well, for those of us who've gone through enough experiences in life to meet a lot of different types of people and understand a little bit more about how they work and how we work, and that's the important part too, got to understand that love in this society is a very rare commodity. Psychopaths don't have it. They're incapable. Narcissists don't have it either. They're just vortices. They're like a vortex of hunger, and they need and need and need, and they will give you nothing back. It also comes to mind like a borderline personality is kind of, to me, fit into that category. They're just lost in space, right? So in your journey, you have to understand that if you're a loving person, that love that you have, people will really want a piece of it, okay? They're going to be attracted to the light, and they're going to try to suck it out as much as possible. And in our journeys, sometimes we have to say goodbye to certain people from our past. And this is a level that I'm at right now. And I'll tell you this, it's not, and some people are like, you must be very lonely. I'm absolutely not lonely. I'm just fallen in love all over again with myself, right? And I do have some really great friends, but it takes a long time to find people that you jive with, right? And what you have to do along the way is let go of certain people. So lately, I guess you could say I've been testing a lot of people, and not testing purposely to see what's going to happen, but like, say, for instance, there's a couple of people that I've gone above and beyond for that have been rude, nasty, and needy. So it's not like I'm just going to, have this conversation with them. It's not worth it. They've always been that way. I've just been blind to it for a really long time. So sometimes you got to shut them out. Now you got to understand that narcissists and borderlines, not psychopaths, but narcissists and borderlines, you cannot engage in a conversation, say, you were rude to me, because they won't own any of that. All right? They won't own any of it, and you are wasting your time. So you got to stop communicating. And that's it. And you get to see who's who by how far they push, right? And if the person doesn't own what they did wrong, that you have to point it out to them, Houston, we got a problem. Anyhow, long story short, there are a couple of these people from the past that have gotten back with the most manipulative messages ever. So I let it go. I didn't block. I said, let's see how long it's going to go on. It's going on, and it's going on and on and on. So now it's block time. Today I'm blocking. So if any of you are watching right now, block time. And if you don't know what you did wrong, you got a lot of soul searching to do. And it ain't about me, and there ain't no hard feelings either. But it's time to move on, right? And it's time to move on with yourself in a life of love. And remember, do not cast pearls before swine. You're wasting your time. So that's it for now. Foxy D signing off. I'll try to get to those comments. It's been a really long time, folks. So maybe a couple of months. I haven't even addressed this stuff. But I will. I'll do my best anyways. I'll be back whenever I can. And I wish you love, light, peace, respect, and definitely self-respect, self-love, all the way. Foxy D, signing off. Namaste.